Welcome back to the show. In a highly charged political year, there is a dark but humorous farce that's causing lots of belly laughter on Broadway. It's a fictional play about our nation's 16th president and his first lady, and her aspirations to be a cabaret star. Let's take a look. Abraham Lincoln is generally regarded as one of the most popular presidents in our nation's history. He unified a nation that was divided by civil war and pushed the 13th Amendment, ending slavery. Through it all, First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln was at his side, including that fateful moment he was assassinated. A dark piece of history that now, 159 years later, has prompted playwright, actor, and comedian Cole Escola to ask,
what if Abraham Lincoln's assassination wasn't such a bad thing for Mary Todd Lincoln?
And the dark comedy Oh Mary was born. A momentary thought that Escola simmered on for more than a decade.
Over the course of 15 years, I would have ideas every once in a while and just like send them to myself over email. And eventually there was a play.
The show first landed off Broadway last winter, but after much buzz, it made the leap to the Lyceum this summer.
Tonight means a lot to me, and I'm just losing my voice. I'm not crying.
Your Mary Todd is somewhat inspired by Miss Piggy?
A little, well, I wouldn't say she's inspired by Miss Piggy, but she does remind me of Miss Piggy. She's sort of the Muppet in a world of humans.
You play Abraham Lincoln.
The minute I read it at my kitchen table, I was dying laughing. The script is so funny. I've been a fan of Cole's since their mom parody video.
Did you know that one glass of the leading brand of orange juice contains twice the amount of sugar your kids should be getting in a day? I thought, my God, if I'm capable of that, what else am I capable of?
I got the script and it was like, yep.
We're sitting in Hunt Sloan's studio, and of course, the person you play every night on Broadway, Abraham Lincoln, is in portraits framed behind you.
It's so cool. I think that there's a fascination with him as a leader, and especially, thinking about politically how divided our country was at the time of the Civil War. It sometimes doesn't seem like it's that different still. But to see how this human being could bring people to the table to eventually get this huge thing done that seemed impossible.
You may associate artist Hunt Sloan most with his colorful neo-expressionist paintings of bunnies, birds, and butterflies. But before Escola brought the Lincolns to a Broadway stage, Sloan was shining his own spotlight on the former president and first lady. We are sitting in your studio. We have these beautiful portraits. Why Lincoln and why Mary Todd?
I was fascinated with Lincoln because his wife, who grabbed me first, was a hero of mine. She was a shopaholic. She had billions of pairs of gloves, and she was mystical. She had seances at the White House. I have a favorite quote that they said in one of the movies, Mrs. Lincoln, you've spent a year of your husband's salary refurnishing the White House. She goes, sir, when I came here, there were mushrooms crowding from the walls, which was true. I think Mary Todd was just really treated badly and should be tremendously admired as a first lady for what she represented and did. And, she came from money in the beginning, and he wouldn't have been president probably without her.
What's the fascination with Abraham Lincoln?
Well, I think he's one of the greatest presidents we've ever had. I mean, that statue of him in Washington is so mind-boggling. It's, superhuman monument to this great man who changed our history. I get very emotional about it. I mean, it was unbelievable what he was up against and that he was ultimately killed.
So many fun folks have been backstage at this show.
I heard, Robert Downey Jr. was coming. Christine Baranski greeting us backstage as well, and I didn't expect it.
It really meant a lot for me that Rosie O'Donnell came because her show was my only access to Broadway as a kid before we had internet. That was truly my only way to see Broadway stars and Broadway performances. Bernadette still hasn't come. I would love for her to see the show.
Has she seen your impression of her?
I hope not. I really hope not.
Benedict Peters, how can I help you?
Your comedy style is so special, and it's just so smart.
I never wanted to be funny. I think because I was sincere and effeminate, that was like, other people laughed at that. And so then it was the classic thing of like, well, if you're gonna laugh at me, I'm gonna be in control of that laugh.
Was it a defense mechanism?
Yeah, a little bit of a defense mechanism. It was a way to engage with people. That's how I made friends, was through humor.
Do you remember back being introduced to Broadway and having that aha moment thinking, you know what, that's something I would love to do?
It just never occurred to me that it would actually be possible. I guess growing up poor, like theater was always like, you know, theater school. These were things that you needed money to be able to do. But now that I'm reading memoirs of actresses like Marie Dressler, like just their training was in like trouping, as they would call it, like on the road with shows and vaudeville. I guess in a way that's been my experience and training is Joe's Pub and the Duplex and Dixon Place.
Was there a specific moment where you're like, oh, my life is completely changed?
I mean, just the fact that I'm on Broadway. I mean, it's crazy. I can't believe it. I'm really, I could cry, but I won't. You're not gonna get me there. But
You're tearing up.
I am, a little bit. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me in my whole life. And I think, you know, I don't think anything this special will ever happen again for me. And I don't mean that as in like a bad way, but I want to acknowledge how like special this time is for me.
All right, final question. You and Cole are putting together a dinner party. You are Abraham Lincoln. Cole is Mary Todd. You can invite a president, a first lady, and a Broadway diva. Who's at the table?
Oh, Broadway diva, Audra McDonald. Presidents, you know, I want Barack and Michelle there. And I think Barack is a huge Abraham Lincoln fan. I don't know that he would approve of our interpretation, but I would still want to be at that table.
I don't like presidents. So I would choose the corpse of Richard Nixon and Pat Nixon alive and Carol Channing, because I think she could keep the conversation up.
What are you serving?
Richard Nixon.
And after my interview with Cole, Bernadette Peters did in fact see Oh Mary, and I bet she loved it. Oh Mary is a must-see, and it's been extended again, playing at the Lyceum Theater until January 19th. All right, that's a wrap for this week's show. Join us in the coming weeks for more of the best of Broadway and beyond. And that includes a chat with screen star Daniel Day Kim, who is back on the boards this season in David Henry Hwang's Yellowface. As always, I'll see you at the theater.
I play a character whose initials are DHH. Yeah, and it's coincidental somehow that the playwright's initials are also DHH. And so I play a version of David Henry Hwang.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.